Hello and welcome to Chin Chat, the show that puts the chat into the chins. Okay, today we'll be talking about Fiji and the British Empire with me, your host, Chin Chinnigan. Yes. Anyway, before we go into more detail about this subject, let's have a look at the geographical area of Fiji. Yeah.
Fiji is located between Vanuatu and the Kingdom of Tonga. It is known as the crossroads of the Pacific as it is located in the southwest Pacific Ocean and just a bit south of the equator. Fiji is a bit weird really, because even though it covers a total area of 194,000 square kilometres, only 10% of it is land, as it is made up of 322 islands, only 106 of which are inhabited. Fiji, of course, is a tropical island as it is close near the equator.
Okay, to begin we have who. Who lived in Fiji when the British Empire invaded? I'm here with Vutunasaki Chin. Can I just call you Vu?
Of course.
Well, thank you. Do carry on.
Well, at the time the British took control of Fiji, there were two distinct types of people on the Fijian Islands. There were the Taukai and the Vulagi. Now, the two Taukai were the indigenous or native people of the islands, whereas the Vulagi were the people who came for work or for other reasons. So, the Taukai used to build their houses or burhs of grasses, long grasses or reeds, and sometimes use tree trunks as poles to keep the houses up.
Wow, that's incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
I heard that they use fabric wraps and woven grasses to act as clothes almost.
Absolutely, or you're quite right about that. Their clothes are made of fabric wraps, yes.
Wow, that's just amazing, Can you tell me anything more about their religion, maybe?
Well, it is unclear whether the Fijians worshipped anything before the British arrived, but by the time the 1900s came round, they were mostly converted to Christianity.
So any one-off facts for me just before we go?
Well, an interesting fact is that they have a national drink called the Yanguna, which is supposed to have special healing properties, but it also makes you feel very mellow.
Well, thank you for coming in today, Vu. It's been a pleasure interviewing you.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Why? Now it's time for why. Why was Fiji part of the British Empire? I'm here to tell you why. Okay, so there were lots of islands on Fiji, obviously, and one of the chiefs of these islands was called Mafu. Now, Mafu the chief had no trees on his island for wood to be used as fire or making canoes. So he decided to invade another Fijian island, which caused a lot of upset between the Fijian chiefs, plus the fact that Fiji was in debt to America. So, because of their poor governing skills, Fiji decided to offer themselves to the British Empire for the simple fee of paying off the American debt. Unfortunately, Britain declined. Over the years, more settlers arrived in Fiji, and the demand for law and order rose. So did the American debt, in fact. And after 3 years of deadlock, and a lot more arguing, Britain finally agreed to Fiji's terms. Partly because it provided a safe stop-off on the route to Australia and Panama. Fiji was ceded to Great Britain in 1874. Yay! What? Now it's time for what? What were the main events that happened in Fiji? I'm here with Jackie Chin.
Hello.
to tell us more about this interesting subject.
Yes, the history of Fiji is terribly interesting. In 1874, Sir Arthur Gordon was our first consul. He was from Britain. He's very exciting because his father happened to also be the British Prime Minister at that time. Yes. Now, Britain needed Fiji to earn money. Yes, we had to earn money, and they wanted us to do this by growing sugar cane.
Ooh, sugar.
Now, we didn't have enough people to grow all the sugar cane they wanted, so Sir Arthur Gordon decided to bring in Indian workers.
Indians?
Workers from India, yes, indeed. He brought them in by the shipload. And by at least 1916, there were over 50,000 Indian workers.
50,000?
Yes, but there was a problem. They brought in disease that we had not had on the island, and over 40,000 Fijians were killed by measles. Measles, yes. So it was very, very difficult. And in fact, there were so many Indians that in 1920 they forced the government to make changes because, you see, they weren't treated terribly well.
That's just amazing. That chain of events. Just amazing. Any one-off facts just to end the show?
1877, we moved our capital city from Levuku to Suva. But it's not really a city. Not very
Yes. I gather. Thank you. Well, that was very good. Thank you, Miss Jackie Chin.
Thank you. Do you like my hat?
I love your hat.
Thank you.
Now it's time for when. When did Fiji get given independence from the British Empire? I'm here with Esme Chin to ask her that very question. So, Esme, when did Fiji get independence?
Fiji got independence from the British Empire on the 10th of October 1970.
Wow, that's very interesting. So, did any other countries get freed in that particular time?
Also Tonga, Oman and Muscat.
Wow, that's so cool too. Are there any other specific events that happened around 1970?
The British Empire and Commonwealth Games was renamed to the British Commonwealth Games in 1970 and held in Edinburgh.
Wow, the Commonwealth Games! That's amazing. Well, thank you, Esme. Thank you very much. Well, that's it for today, folks. Hope you've learned as much as you possibly can about Fiji. I'd just like to say a special thanks to all the chins that have come in to be interviewed today and the behind-the-scenes guys, which you never really see. Thank you again for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. Good night. Damn, that was my eye. Partly because it provided a safe route on the route too. Partly because it provided a route. Partly because it's partly because it When was the British Empire